Welcome to the Human Potential Podcast. My name is Laura, and this is my co-host, Ken.
We back, people. We back.
We're back for another one. If you're new here, welcome, where we talk all things spirituality, self-development. And if you're coming back to listen again, welcome back. Today's episode is called The Monsters We Create. What does that mean, Ken?
Oh man, it's just the monsters that we create in our head, the people, just the monsters and the people that's what we're going to be talking about tonight.
And it's the versions of the people. And we're going to explain. So we're going to just share a few ideas, and then we're going to get a little personal and vulnerable with you guys and tell you about a relationship in our own lives that we've had challenges with and how we worked through that.
Are working through it currently.
Yeah. Amen to that.
Yes. Yeah, so the first topic we're going to get on right now is do you realize that your perspective of someone else has an effect on how they show up in your life? So Laura, go ahead and talk to him about that real fast.
I believe that it's very easy to go through life and just see people show up in your life in a certain way, good, bad, or a mixture of the two, and believe that's just how they are. That's just who they are. And there's no changing them. And there is some truth to that, because our job isn't to change people. What you do have control over is what you think, feel, and believe about people. And that shapes your perspective of them. So it doesn't have anything to do with them and what they're doing. It's what are the parts that you're paying attention to and putting a microscope to and then magnifying, because that's exactly what you're going to get out of them. Whatever you're putting your attention on, that's what you're going to get. So if you're like, oh my God, she's the nicest person I've ever met in my life, that's going to repeat. And if you say, I hate her, I wish she would just go away and she's the worst person. And, if this was a stranger that you were meeting on the street, great. You'll probably never see her again. But what if it's your baby mama, your sister, your dad, your boss?
Yeah.
That's not something that's going to benefit you to believe those things about those people. Ken, what about you?
Yeah, I started to understand that when people are just showing up the way that I imagine them to. So I've had to understand that with some people, that you want people to show up as a hero, and you've already casted them as a villain in your head. So you can't expect this villain that you cast to show up as a hero when you don't have them cast as a hero. They're going to play their role based on what you cast them as in your movie of life, the way I see it. And just your perspective of them is just the way that you cast them. And the more that you start to see this person in the role that you want them to play, then they'll play that role no matter what it is, because they're going to play out what you perceive them as. So even if this person is the nicest person on the planet, but you have them cast as a villain, you're going to see them as a villain no matter what they do to you.
And I hear a question in people's minds. Well, how long is that going to take?
Yeah. that takes time. That takes time, and it's really based on your determination to see this person that way. So it can take as long as you allow it to, because it's always on you anyway of how you think about this person.
Yeah, and if you've practiced them being a beep, beep, beep for 40 years, You can't sit on your meditation pillow and do one visualization of them being an angel in your life and then be like, damn, it didn't work. Because you need momentum to build for the thought to turn into a belief.
Yeah, but that's what most of us think. We think that, oh, we've been mad at this
Mm-hmm.
person for so long and we could just let it go after just one thing. And somebody told us, oh, yeah, think positively of this person. And then, all right, I've tried it. That's what people say. I tried. I'm like, did
I
you
tried
try?
it once.
Did you? You didn't try. You did it once.
One time.
Yeah.
It didn't work.
Yeah. And so, well, it doesn't work. That's what most people think. That's what I used to think a lot. It's just, it doesn't work. If I didn't try it the first or second time and we're not cool, then it doesn't work.
And it's not that it doesn't work. It's that you haven't been willing to work at it long enough to see the reality shift.
Yes, exactly.
The vibration in you has to shift before the reality shifts.
Yeah, that moves on to this is just gonna just flow into all of these different little points that we're talking about. So the next one is like, it's easy to assume that people are who they are and there's no changing them. Like, you tapped on that a little bit, so you can get a little more into that.
And I want to say that's true, not because people can't change, but because we can't change people. You're responsible for yourself. And they're responsible for themselves. So if you put your attention on changing the other person, whether it's a romantic relationship, boss, coworker, whatever, parents, that is a battle you will always lose. Because being in a relationship where you feel like all the other person wants to do is change you is miserable.
Yeah, because you can't.
Because all we really want is for people to see us and accept us how we are. So if that's not happening, both parties are going to be unhappy because they're not able to control you and change you, and you're not able to be seen and accepted.
Yeah. It makes me think of how you, like, I used to want people to, accept me for being me. So then I would have to act differently around certain people, just because I thought that they wanted me to act this way. And then it really helped me understand when I started to look at like my friends and my kids and stuff like that, and people like that. I mean, to where I was like, why am I so focused on them doing what I want them, what I think they should do? And then that's what we go wrong too. We start to look at other people and to be like, why aren't they doing what I want them to do? And if they're not doing what you specifically think they should be doing, it's a problem. So then you start to see these people a different way. I just say, like, well, let me start to look at these people for who they are, not who I want them to be and what I think they should be, but who are they, and accept them for that. So that's where, and as far as, not being able to change people, there's a Neville Goddard, he talks about this, but he said there's no one to change but yourself. If you change the way that you look at these people, then they'll change, because they have to live up to the image that you hold of them, no matter what that is.
And Ken, I wanted to touch on, if you show up differently in every relationship, you're changing who you are to be who you think other people want you to be. But that you never get to show up as who you actually are. And it gets really confusing. You're like, who am I? Because it depends on the person and it depends on what they want from me.
Yeah, that was a big thing for me. Like, coming up, it was like, who am I? And I literally tried to be everyone that I wasn't. And then once I started to be who I am, I started to attract the people around me, because my grandfather told me, he said, you'll never have to try to fit in with the right people. You don't have to try to. You'll just automatically do it. And it'll work for you. Okay, so the next one that we're going to speak on is like, how you think, feel, and speak about someone else affects your interaction with them always. Talk to me.
Ooh, this one for me. It's like a domino effect. So everything starts as a thought, and then it turns into a feeling, which turns into a belief, and then an action. That's always the way manifesting goes. So let's say I have a thought about Ken that goes something like this. I like Ken. He's just like, when I'm around him, when I talk to him, it's just always good. Like I feel good. And then when I talk to him, I feel better. And then we have a good connection. And it's just always good. And that thought brings about what kind of feeling in me? Worth, connection, joy. And then those feelings turn into a belief that like, man, when me and Ken get into the same room, it's always good.
Yeah.
Every conversation we have, it's always good.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what was going on before he and I connected, it's just good. And then that turns into the reality of he and I meeting, he and I hanging out, things going well, time passing, and then we reconnect and boom, we're doing a podcast together. It builds upon each other. The thought, the feeling, the belief, the manifestation of the reality. So that was a cool story. But what if I told it like this? God, I remember that one guy I met that one time. I hated him. Hated him. I hope I never see him again. And then he pops up because my attention's on him. Oh God, there he is again. I wish he would just go away. Why does he even exist? He's so annoying. I don't like him. Ugh. And so my thought about him turns into irritation and frustration and hate. But because I'm still putting my attention on it, it's going to keep showing up. So it drives me crazy, and it turns into a belief that like, not only do I dislike him, he continues to show up in my reality. And then the manifestation is, there he is. Everywhere I turn, there's that guy I hate. So it's the same formula, but the result is either the wanted, happy interaction or the unwanted interaction. What do you got, Ken?
Oh man, I was just enjoying how much you were talking so highly of me, then started talking poorly of me. I'm like, yeah, that's how I am. That's how it is. But it literally is like that. It's two sides of the coin. So you can pick the good side of this person, or you can pick the bad side of that person, because they're essentially the same person. But your perception of them makes them different based on how you think about them. So that second version of Ken, the negative version of Ken, her reality would show up when I would be around her in this instance. Then her reality would be me pissing her off, would be me, making, that would be the person that you're talking about, that you're thinking about, and that you feel something about. When you see them again, it's gonna play out the way that you think and feel about that person. So the best bet is for you to, the people that you have to stay around, it's just such a focus on the good stuff, and then tell yourself good things about this person, and to the point to where you believe it, because it's all made up anyway, and it's all what's the word I'm looking for? Yes, it's all something that you made up in your head. The good stuff or the bad stuff, you chose to make that up, because it's only true to you. Because to somebody else, I might be a dick or whatever, but to you say, oh, I'm a nice person, but you just made that up in your head based on your interaction with me. So it's just your opinion, basically, to me. So your opinion and perspective of that person will change the way your guys interact.
And Ken, do you know how many times that this situation has happened to me, where someone else is going, God, I hate her for A, B, and C, and D reasons. She just gets on my last nerve. And they just go on and on about them. And I say, she's always nice to me. Yeah. I don't got nothing bad to say.
Yeah.
Like, I can see how other people are affected differently.
Yeah.
But when it comes to me and her, she's always nice to me. And people say, well, everyone's always nice to you, Laura. And I say, well, why do you think that is?
Oh my goodness.
Because I'm nice to them.
Oh my goodness. That
What?
is that is so that the
Is
fact
that
that you
you?
say that's me all the way, because that's me at work. That's me at
Yes,
work.
yes, at work especially. People love to be like, God, I hate when she does this. And I'm in my head, I'm like, stop talking right now. Stop talking. Stop saying those things about her because she's just going to keep showing up like that. And that's hard for people. It's hard for them to turn away from what is so real that they don't like to imagine what they would like if it were real.
A friend of mine, I always tell her, I say, stop talking so negatively about your life and stop saying so much negative stuff about it. She said, well, I'll stop saying it when it stops happening. I said, no, it'll
You got
stop
it
happening.
backwards, girlfriend.
It'll stop happening when you stop saying it. It doesn't work like that. You got to stop speaking it into existence. But exactly what you're saying, that happens to me at work all the time. I get along with literally everyone. I have zero
Mm-hmm.
quarrels with anyone at my job, but everyone else has a problem with certain people there. And I say, I don't get it. I don't get any of that. I don't
You
get
don't
that.
get it because you choose not to get it.
It-
You could,
yeah, yeah. I could if I
but
bought into
not the
there.
reality you want to be living.
No. Why would you? I always tell them this too. Like, why would you want to think that about the people that you got to see for most of your day? Why would you want to sit here and just be like, this? I hate this person. The way that they doing stuff, which mind you, that they can be doing certain things, and I've had situations where those people have done the things that the other people on my team don't like, but I chose to see it differently. I'm like, it's maybe a problem, whatever. They might be going through something. I always give people the benefit of the doubt because everybody goes through some things, but it always works out to where the people don't even have a problem with me at all. So it's crazy. Okay, so now we're gonna get a little vulnerable. We're gonna talk about personal stories and situations to where we've had interactions with people, or we're still currently working on situations, right? So I'm dealing with like my kid's mom, right? So we've been off and on for maybe about since we were 16, right? And we've had issues since since I can remember, and it's problem after problem. We've been separated and not being together for over. My kids are like 16 now, so it's been a long time. But no matter what, we still have these issues to where we argue and fight about things that I don't think that we should be arguing about. And I continuously wonder, like, why do we still have these conversations? Why do we still have these problems? And then no matter what I listen to, no matter how much they say, just see this person in a different way, see this person in a different light. It's like, it's impossible for this person. And I don't like saying it's impossible, but it's like, it really is. It feels like that. And I know some of you guys know what I'm talking about, to where you just like, I just cannot see this person in the positive light for no reason. And it got to the point to where I was like, why am I continuously thinking about this woman like this? Because it's only hurting me. And at the end of the day, it's just how I justify me being angry at this person. So in my mind, with all the stuff we've already talked about, it's just like, I've been seeing this woman from our past. Every time I think about it, it's from our past. And what I've noticed is that when you focus on anything, it becomes your present. So if you focus on money, you focus on relationships, it becomes a part of your present. So if you focus on your past, then your past continues to be your present. So I started to look at, like, why is this thing keeps coming up? Why do I keep starting to see this woman this way? So it took practice. It took I'm still working on this, but I started to see the highlights in this woman. I started to say, you know what? This is my kid's mother. Like, why would I want to view her in a bad way? Like, this is the woman that is raising my children. So if I think negatively of her, like, why would I want that negative person raising my children? So I said, I'm gonna look at her for what she's doing with my kids and how she's not what she's doing to me, but look at the positive stuff that I could see in her. So I started to see how she is with my kids. Like, my kids don't want for anything. If they ask for something, like, we'll get it for her. She makes sure that they dress nice. She takes care of them like they're number one in her book. And I said, okay, I can focus on that. I can focus on how much she does that. She has a really good relationship with my kids. It's better than the one that I have with them. And I told her about this. I said, I envy the relationship that you have with the kids. So I started just to look at the good things about her and all the things that she does. And so all of a sudden, we would have really good interactions. It wouldn't be any drama. I would just focus on all that stuff. Now, every now and then, after a while, we would go back to some drama. But then I would just realize, like, okay, why is this popping up? Anytime a situation with her would pop up, I would ask myself, how am I seeing her? Because she's still showing up negatively. So what is it about me that's seeing this in her? And then I had to dig deep, and was just like, I still don't think she can change. And so with that belief in my head, no matter how she shows up, good all the time, it's gonna still be like, you still don't see her as being able to change. And so our reality will continuously display that. It'll still show me that I don't think that she can change. And then we're going to have argument after argument, and it's going to reinforce that belief that I have about her, is that I don't think that she can change. And so I'm still working on this to where it's gradually happening every day, to where I see something in my head. I have to go back to certain situations that were positive, where I can see the change in her. I can see different little changes in her. I've even talked to my kids, and they've told me that, the stuff that I tell her, she might not tell you that she listens to, but she's been doing a lot of the stuff that you tell her at the house, but she won't ever tell you that she's doing it, but she's been doing it. And so I said, whoa, I am getting through to her. She can change. And just little pieces of things here and there will make it more believable for you to see the change in people. But you have to really pick out, and just like she said, put the magnifying glass on all the positive things. So now I'm really looking at her like, she can change. She can actually change. And it's not her actually changing, it's me changing the way that I see her. That's changing more than her. So yeah, that's all I got to say about that topic.
And what kind of things did you do to help shift your perspective of her that really helped you?
Oh, like I said, just this putting the magnifying glass on the positive stuff. Just keeping that on, and just telling myself that she is changing. And the main thing is just, putting a magnifying glass on it. That really helped me the most, is continuously doing that, seeing the positive little growth here and there. So if you see little growth, it helps me to be more conscious of that she is able to grow.
And that, what he just said, might sound like so simple and insignificant. Like, it doesn't work like that. It does. It does. You start with something simple that maybe you even don't believe is going to work, and you just practice it, and you practice it, and you practice it. And then one day, like he said, one of his kids said, she is doing that stuff. And you would have never known if they didn't share it with you. And that was cool, because it was evidence. It was evidence that you changing your perspective and being willing to just focus on that, even though other things are pulling on you to be like, look over here, she's being dumb, she's being dramatic. You're like, nope, because that's not what I want for our relationship. It's not what I want for my kids. And I definitely don't want my children to repeat the relationship we have been feeding all of these years.
Yeah. Oh, and I want to touch on a word that you said right there, and I think that's what really gets a lot of people, and that's what's going to strengthen your belief is evidence. It's the evidence. You got evidence that this person can change. But since you have so much negative evidence that you're just focusing on all that evidence, but if you focus on the evidence that you have of the positive things, no matter how small they are, that evidence piles up. So you've been piling up the evidence against them. Start to pile up the evidence that's for them.
Yeah, the seeds that you plant and water will grow. Okay, my turn. So I'm not going to reveal the identity of this relationship. I'm going to keep it confidential. It is a relationship I've had almost my whole life. And in the past, you'll notice I'm very conscious about the words that I choose as I tell this story. In the past, my relationship with this person was terrible. I hated being connected to this person in this way because there was nothing good about our relationship from my perspective. All they did was manipulate, abuse, use me to get what they wanted. And I played along for a really long time. And I didn't think it could ever change until one particular situation happened where I didn't have good boundaries and I got run over. Not literally, but no boundaries up. They come in and say, this is what I want, so this is what's going to happen. And I'm really upset about it. And I decided right then, no more. I don't care what has to happen, but my feelings and what I want out of this relationship matter. And I haven't been believing that enough to act like it. And it just started with that one thought, no more. And it took a long time. I mean, a long time for me to go from the thought to the belief. And it was worth it because I took a lot of time to realize my part in the relationship and how I was allowing them to show up the way that they were. And that I had control over my thoughts and my feelings and my beliefs about this person. And so I started to visualize them differently. And oh man, this took some practice because at first I was being controlling. I'm like, I don't want you to do this and I don't want you to do that and I want you to do this. And I was like, oh my God, I'm doing exactly what they did to me that I don't like. This isn't going to work. And so I realized I had to be really, really general with my visualization. And this mantra came to me during a meditation. And it goes like this. I'm holding space for you to show up however you're willing. And man, I didn't like that because it didn't involve me controlling anything. And I was like, that's not going to work. That's like a statement that like doesn't mean anything. But I sat with it for days and it just kept coming back into my consciousness during meditation. And I was like, okay, I'm listening. Maybe there's something here. So I started to visualize with that mantra and put some feeling behind it. Like, oh, that would be so nice if they did show up like that. And what if they did do this? And what if it could be like this? And I just started to play with an imaginary reality.
Yeah.
And then I started to believe it. And when people talk to me about this person in the, oh, they're so this and that, I was like, nope, don't want to hear it. don't want to engage in it. Definitely don't want to repeat anything that you're saying or agree with it. Because then I'm feeding that monster we've created.
Yeah.
And I don't want that person to be a monster in my life. I want them to be something else that feels better. So a lot of time passes. I'm practicing, and I get an invitation to interact with this person from a third party. And I was like, ooh, I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready.
Yeah.
And, I get convinced that, it'll be cool. Everything's going to be cool. And I'm like, okay. And on the way, everything's going to be okay. And on the way to their house, I'm saying the mantra in my head because I'm having all these feelings like, I don't know. I feel weird. I feel scared. I feel uncertain. I was feeling all the feelings. And I'm just repeating the mantra. I'm holding space for you to show up how you're willing. I'm holding space for you to show up how you're willing. And it slowly just started to soften all of the anxiety and worry. And then we get to their house and I ring the doorbell and they open the door. Not only do they greet me with kindness, they hug me. And I was like, what in the actual hell is happening right now? It was like an out of body experience where I'm like, is this real? Did I fall asleep and I feel like it's real, but it's actually a dream?
Twilight Zone.
And I literally felt the frequency of our relationship change during that short embrace. It was like all this energy dispersed and it got light and it was just, whoo, it was like an experience that is hard to put into words.
Yeah.
And I was speechless, and I am not someone who's speechless, let me tell you. I can talk. But it was about feeling. It was about energy. It was about shifting, and no words can explain how incredible it was to see my beliefs show up as my reality, because they hadn't until then. And it had been a long time from the past reality to the now reality. And I remember going into the bathroom and just taking a minute because I was shocked. I was like, is this real? This is real. This is happening. I've wanted this to happen for so long. And it's happening. And from that moment on, I was like, man, if this relationship can shift, anything can shift. And I turned into a shifting machine. I was like, okay, I'm just going to apply this to everything. And I'm going to be willing to practice. I don't care how long it takes, because the reality shifting is worth it. I don't care if it takes a month or a year. When you have this kind of interaction with someone who you previously thought they're never going to change, and your relationship shifts because of your perspective and your willingness, it's worth every second before that reality changed. And it didn't stay that way. So I don't want to sugarcoat it, because I started to fall back into my old habits of engaging in those conversations and thinking things, because not only do I know this person as the past person that I see them as, so does everyone else in my life. So when my friends call me and they're like, hey, how's that relationship going? I'm like, oh, why? But it's my responsibility, because I've talked about this person this way, and now I'm going to have to start talking about this person in another way. So I want to be really honest with you and tell you that at the beginning, it's going to be challenging, because someone's going to call you and be like, so how's your baby daddy doing? And you're like, oh my God. And he might not be doing great. He might be pissing you off. Is that what you want to say, though?
Yeah.
Or do you want to say what you've been practicing? And it takes courage. I'm telling you, it takes courage, because if you say, well, I'm holding space for him to show up however he's willing, the other person's going to go, what?
What
What
does
does
that
that even
mean?
mean?
Yeah.
Like, what are you even talking about? Like, let's talk about how terrible he is.
Yeah.
Nope. Don't want to do that. Why? Is it better? Nope. Don't want to have that conversation.
Yeah.
And you have to be willing to just live in your imaginary reality for a while.
I was
And that takes courage. Go ahead.
I was gonna ask you about that. Like, how long did it take you to get to that point to where when you went over there, and then it was all good for that moment? How
A
long
year.
did it? You said it took a year. Now,
One year.
another part of that is that during that year, can you? This is what I asked myself too. During that year of you going through that, how dedicated were you to seeing that person in a positive light on a scale of 1 to 10?
Oh my freaking universe. I was the most dedicated.
Yeah.
People would literally try to get me to talk badly about this person, and I would be like, nope.
Yeah.
I don't have anything to say because I don't have anything nice to say yet,
Yeah.
but I definitely don't want to have the conversation you're trying to have with me. And people would get mad at me. And I literally lost, as a result of wanting to shift this reality, it came at a high cost. A lot of people close to me were mad at me. Some people got taken away from me because that was part of the manipulation on their part. And it sucked for a while, because people were like, why don't you just go back to how you used to be? And I was like, hell no, never. Because I don't want to be that person. Not in that relationship, not in any relationship. I want to be me. And I want people to see my worth as being high and respect my boundaries. And if that means I got to go away for a while, I'm okay with that.
Now I want the audience to think about what she said. It took her a year of being dedicated to this for her to get that one interaction down, right? So when you're trying to, think about this person and you're trying to change the relationship with this person, first of all, figure out, is it worth it? Is it going to be worth all this effort? And if you think it is, then be ready for the long journey of getting to change that. Because if, like she said, if it's been a long time that you've been having these emotions and feelings about this person, it's going to take a while for you to just change them to make them positive and start to see those things. So the more that you put into it, the better the relationship between you guys will be. But you have to stay on it. You can't just do it for 1 week and then that person doesn't automatically change and then you just stop. You have to be consistent with doing it. Like she was dedicated. I'm still being dedicated to seeing this person in a good way. But you gotta, it's just a journey. You just gotta keep doing it until you get the result that you desire.
And then you got to run with that desire, because it's not going to be a consistent reality when it's new. There's still going to be bits of the old reality creeping back in, and you got to hang on to that. Ooh, remember that one time, that really good one time where this happened. And you got to hold on to that reality, because it can slip away, I'm telling you, so quickly. And then boom, you're back in your old reality. And not that you have to start at square one, but you're like, okay, I realized that it took a lot of conscious effort to shift a little bit, and it took no effort for me to go right back. Because only because it's practiced.
Yeah.
Not because it can't change or it can't be real or it doesn't work. The things you practice will be the most evident in your life.
Oh, I like that. I look at it as as when you first start driving, you tend into checking your mirrors every second. You're hovering over the brake whenever you do something. You're focused. You're not on your phone. You're not doing anything. But after a while, driving becomes routine. Like you can literally be driving and people be putting on makeup all on the phone. They be eating. You do all that stuff, but you would never do that when you first started. But it's just from the repetition that where it becomes like a subconscious thing to where you don't even notice that you're driving because you've done it so many times. And that's the same thing with your thought process about people, about anything, is that you thought these thoughts so much to where your subconscious is like, well, I'm about to just program this to where she doesn't have to think about it. That's why sometimes you'll do an outburst or something to happen to where it was something that I didn't even have to think about doing it. It just happened. So when you
Hmm.
think about these people, you don't even have to think about being negative towards this person because you've done it so much to where it's hardwired into you. So it's just automatic. I just automatically think badly about this person. So it's gonna be the same thing, but in reverse. You're gonna have to trigger yourself. You got to program yourself to start to think positively of this person, to where it's just automatic, to where they can do no wrong, to where every time you see this person, automatically you think that it's gonna be a good session. It's gonna be a good thing. But since it's been triggered for some negative stuff, whenever you hear their name, like your heart starts to beat funny, you start to feel weird, and it's tied to all of these thoughts that you have for them. So you just gotta continuously change them over time.
Yes. And I wanted to share one more thing, that the result isn't always going to be, oh, beautiful, wonderful relationship. We never fight. Everything is great. Sometimes, like in my situation, the reality shifts to, I don't really interact with this person anymore because my personal happiness and peace has become my priority. So if you fit into that, you get to come and play. If you don't fit into that, you don't get to come and play. And that was hard for me to be okay with, because this person is, quote unquote, supposed to be close to me, and we're supposed to get along. So I can post pictures of us on Facebook and, oh, me and this person, we're so great, like other people's relationships like that are. And that was hard for me. There's a day in the year where people post pictures about a certain relationship and they just floods my Facebook, and I don't go on Facebook anymore on that day because it does make me sad. It makes me sad that I don't have that relationship with that person at the moment.
Yeah, at the moment, that's the good
Why would I want to go on Facebook and be like, oh my God, this sucks? Like, look at them. I'm not them. No, I don't do it because it's not going to get me any closer to my own happy reality of being in a relationship with this person. So just keep in mind that the result isn't always going to be a sunshiny rainbow, everything is great again, or great now. Sometimes it's going to be, you know what? We're just going to see each other when we see each other, and it will be positive. It'll be a positive interaction. It just won't be every day or all the time, or whatever expectations you have that are not real, that you're not willing to put the effort into. Let them go,
Yeah.
because now I am happy and I'm more at peace, and that person really isn't in my life very much. And it did take some time for me to be okay with that.
Yeah.
And I had to keep reminding myself, I have such a beautiful life. I love my job. I have great friends. I have a wonderful family. I have a loving partner. There's so much good. Why would I have this one relationship that isn't going perfectly suck all my energy in? Why?
Exactly. Exactly. It's just the crazy thing about it is that it's the same thing with me. It's just one relationship. It's one
Right.
relationship. I don't have any other issues with anything else in my life besides that one. And
But see how magnetic we've made it, though?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's but I'm just like, for me at least, I'm just like, I'm so much of an optimist to where I'm just like, it gotta be a way to fix this. It gotta be a way for us to be good, for us to be cool. And then I start to remember that it's coming from you. Like, she's not showing up anyway that you don't think she is and that you imagine her as. Because all day we're imagining these people anyway. Because soon as you say that person's name, you already imagine something about them in your head. Or if that person calls your phone, you already imagining the problem that you're gonna have
You're
before
like,
you even have
uh-oh.
the problem. You're like, what is she,
You see
what?
their name on the caller ID? Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, what do they want? Oh, what do they want? What is it? It don't even, it's not even always bad. But since you
Right.
already jump on the conclusion that it's gonna be
You
bad,
practiced it.
then it starts to be bad. Exactly. You practice it, and so now it's bad. But you could have practiced. You could have just been said, "Oh, well, you didn't have to put a." That's the thing too. Is you conditioned it. Like, soon as I look at the phone, I've already conditioned this conversation to be bad before she even said hello. I put a condition on it, like, oh, she's calling me. It's gonna be
You didn't even give her a hello. You're just like, nope,
nope, nope,
nope.
nope. What does she want? What does she want? And
Yep.
then the crazy part, if it goes good, you're surprised that it went good.
And that's the universe giving you like a gift. Like, come on, buddy, shift your perspective.
Yeah.
And we're just like, nope,
Nope. She should have been
nope.
fucked up. It should have been a fucked up conversation. I don't know why it was good.
Doubt. That
Doubt.
that that was just she was just having a good day.
Yeah, yeah. But that's the conditioning to where when good stuff happens, you just like, nah, that's weird. Like, that's weird. It shouldn't be that. But I get why I understand why I would think that way. Is because I didn't visually imagine this person in that light. So if I haven't seen it in my head first and then it happens in reality, it's just like, why is this shit is weird. It's like, it shouldn't do it. But if I've been imagining this person and been seeing this person in my head and us, you know, I just see me and her laughing and joking and laughing hysterically. Like, that's the image that I keep holding in my head of, like, us slapping each other in the back and slapping our knees and just laughing so hard. And I'm just like, you can't be mad at somebody when you constantly imagine them in that state where y'all laughing and joking and having a good time. So I'm like, as long as I have that image in my head, when she does show up positive, I don't think it's weird because I've already been seeing her in the positive light in my imagination.
I love this conversation because it's powerful and easy to forget.
Yeah.
So this is not just for you guys. It's a reminder for us to continue to show up even if it's not quote unquote real yet, consistently, to continue to practice because it's worth it. It's worth it. Even if all you ever do is have the practice, that makes you more joyful. That makes you happier. That makes you feel more at peace. So, regardless of the outcome of the relationship that involves the other person, you're getting benefits during the entire. It's like enjoy the journey, not just the destination.
Yeah.
Your journey to a better relationship with that person is going to allow you to receive so many gifts in other relationships and just being more peaceful and in knowing that a shift can happen in that relationship. It will have a positive domino effect on other aspects of your life, regardless of what happens with the relationship.
Yeah, and I'll end with saying this. And I thought about this today, and how I'm just always so happy and I was talking on my social media about this. I said that I'm happy for no reason. Like, I don't need any type of reason to be happy at all. I just wake up happy. I don't need like my wife to make me happy. I don't need a situation. I don't need that. So now that I just thought about this, I was like, how can I relate this to the relationship? I said, well, what if I just started to just see this person and be happy with this person for no reason? Like, she doesn't have to do anything, she doesn't have to say
Mm.
anything. I'm just happy for no reason. She's cool with me just because. I don't need her to prove anything. I don't need her to make me feel a certain way. I'm just happy with her because. So I said, yeah, that's how I'm gonna start to try to look at it. I don't need a reason for me to be cool with her. I don't need a reason for me to like her. I don't need her to prove anything to me. I'ma just love her and like her and be cool with her just because.
And that removal of condition is what gives you the freedom.
Yes, sir.
I have loved this conversation, and we could go on for another hour, but we're going to stop here and let you guys digest what we've shared with you. This has been a very personal episode, and I know that some of the practices that we've put in place to help us through the challenging relationships in our own lives can definitely help you. And if they serve as nothing else than just a suggestion to be open, if the exact things that we did aren't things that you feel like resonate with you, find what does. Find what does, because it's worth it for you to have fulfilling, loving, unconditional relationships in your life. Because, like Ken was saying, when you let go of conditions of how people are allowed to show up in your life, it gives you the freedom to choose exactly how you want them to show up.
I'll just say exactly what she said. That's exactly what she said. I don't need to input on that, but exactly what she said.
So, thank you for joining us for another episode of the Human Potential Podcast. And we'll see you next time to help you activate your human potential.
All right.